There are so many different kinds of journals you can keep. In this flip through, you'll find inspiration for binding, decorating, and prompts you can try with your own journals. Newbies and experienced journalers and everyone in between can find something of value in this video. We are covering 7 different styles of journals, so feel free to skip around or pause for a closer look. Each journal style is separated into chapters for you to easily navigate through. So let's get into it. The altar book is one of the easiest styles of art journaling. You just need to find a thick book that you are willing to paint and collage in. I started this journal in 2011 when I was first introduced to art journaling. I was a high school senior with little to no money and access to just magazines and basic art supplies like paint, pastels, and crayons. Aside from making compositions with my materials, one of my favorite exercises to do in this journal was erasure poetry, which is when you black out portions of the text to create new text with the words remaining. You should start an altar book if you're looking for a stress-free way to experiment with materials, colors, and ideas. I would reach for this journal when I was sick of writing about my teenage angst or just needed something else to do with my hands. In this section, I'm covering 4 different types of handmade journals that I've kept. This first one is a journal I made for an independent study about fairy tales I did in grad school. The cover is made from an old book that I scored and folded over. I bound the signatures of mixed pages using the saddle stitch method, so it's kind of a Frankenstein of a book. My MFA is in creative writing and publishing arts, so when I had the chance to take an independent study where I was able to make up my own course, I jumped at the chance to make a junk journal dedicated to parts of my research. So yes, I spent a whole summer reading fairy tales and got credit for it. You're probably not studying fairy tales, but you may want to try to make a journal like this one dedicated to another subject that you want to learn more about. You can write quotes, ideas that come to you as you're reading, further questions that you may have, or collect images that inspire you or parts of your research. If you are also a creative writer, I would 10 out of 10 recommend doing a deep dive on a genre that you like reading and keeping a journal like this one. I've referred back to this journal for story ideas and have written 2 published works that came directly from the ideas that I scribbled in this journal. Some of you may be familiar with this journal because I have a playlist dedicated to creating the different aspects of it. I'll link the playlist above if you like tutorials on how to create something that you see in this flip through. I documented the entire process of making this journal. The journal's cover is made from deconstructed cardboard and bound using the Coptic stitch method. This book was inspired by the hikes my husband and I frequently took during the 3-month-long shutdown in the beginning of last year, which I can't believe it's been a year already. I feel like time has been doing strange things over the past 12 months. Like 1 minute it feels like an eternity and the next feels like things have gone by in a second. But the inspiration that I hope for you to take from this handmade journal is the flexibility of creating hidden pockets, tuck spots, and folds to store photos, ephemera, and messages. Since this journal was nature themed, I tried using moss wherever I could, and other natural materials. I also tried eco dyeing for the first time, which is also a video in that playlist above. And if you're making a themed journal, try stretching your imagination and see how you can use that theme in different ways. For instance, if you're making a Victorian themed journal, maybe try incorporating letter locking or even human hair. Victorian scrapbookers loved saving human hair. It's not my cup of tea, but Maybe I'll feel differently one day when I have kids and want to save hair from their first haircut. Who knows why we do the things we do. This next handmade journal is one that I purchased from another maker. The cover is made from soft leather and is bound using cross-lung stitch method. The paper is made from a soft and textured pulp, and I believe it's cotton, but I'm not 100% sure. I primarily use this journal as a diary, so if you want to start a journal primarily for writing but want to include some collaging, I recommend doing most of your decorating in the corners so you'll have as much writing space as possible. But it's your journal, you do what you want. I will also say that I stopped using this journal because glue wouldn't stick to the page well and the paper absorbed the ink in a way that made small writing illegible. So keep the texture of your paper in mind when you're picking out journals. The next journal is a hardcover book with pages that are tea-dyed and bound using the kettle stitch method. The elastic band was looped through the spine to create a closure. The journal pages aren't the prettiest, and the journal would have better served as a diary, but I had some Polaroids and ephemera laying around from some trips that year. I hope that this journal will inspire you to save your receipts, tickets, and other paper bits from an experience and add them to your journals. Also, while you are collaging your ephemera, consider writing some narrative from that day or that experience. I really love traveler's notebooks, also known as TN, because they are quick to fill and are a smaller size. Some of you may be familiar with this notebook because I have a few videos about how I made the cover and the two inserts inside. I made this one while I was still on my nature theme kick. I really like the first booklet that I'm showing you because it's different from a typical TN. I used the next insert to do journaling prompts that I created based around this theme. Journaling prompts and challenges are a great way to get your creative juices flowing when you feel stuck. You can make your own traveler's notebook insert or buy them for cheap. This one I purchased is bound with staples. I filled this one quickly because I challenged myself to journal every day. When you're staring at a blank page and unsure of what to journal about, try picking one piece of ephemera to begin with and let your intuition take over. You can use this same technique with emotions, a memory, or a quote. Take note of what's in front of your mind and then build a journal page around that. You'll be surprised by what comes out of it. I made this tee-in with mixed pages to document my experience going through my last year of grad school. It was a mixture of writing my hopes and fears, plans for my thesis project, and even things as trivial as assignments. Consider making an insert like this one to document a brief life experience that will span the length of a few months or shorter. A tee-in is a great option if you know that you won't be able to fill an entire notebook dedicated to that experience. I have fallen back in love with lined notebooks after going on a dotted journal hiatus. This specific journal is one that I bought from the dollar store, but then spruced it up by changing the cover and adding a closure. You can learn how to upgrade your own basic lined journal too by watching the tutorial linked above in the cards and description below. You may also be familiar with this lined journal because I've used it in many of my junk journal with me videos. I called this one my catch-all journal. I bought it one day from Target when a bulk of my crafting supplies were still in moving boxes. I just needed something quick to do my planning. But then I started collaging in this journal too. And now that the journal is filled, I see it as a beautiful time capsule of where I was mentally and in life during the first few months of moving into our home. What's more is that this style of journaling and planning has become my dominant style of daily journaling. There's a mixture of to-do lists, scripts for videos, morning pages, and collages. Things that I can do quickly and keep me on track in living a productive and creative life. I've never been good at bullet journaling. You can't see me, but I'm using quotation marks around the word good. There are many channels out there that create amazing and beautifully organized bullet journals, and no matter how hard I tried, I can never keep up with trackers, and making elaborately decorated calendars were counterproductive to me and my planning system. What I'm showing you here are older spreads in my bullet journals, which are a mixture of the organized calendar mixed with my chaotic style of organizing and planning my life. Aside from being able to see what I have coming up for the week, my favorite thing to do in a bullet journal is creating brain dump pages. Brain dump pages are where you write down every thought you have about a project you're working on or something you need to figure out. It's the first draft of an idea that you plan to parse out into a finished project. I really like to use watercolor on these pages to keep the journal from becoming too bulky. I also preferred using stickers rather than layering lots of ephemera for that same reason of keeping the journal from getting too chunky. I will say that I got better at bullet journaling once I felt comfortable in my planning style and after I read Carol Ryder's bullet journal book. My first introduction to bullet journaling was through beautifully designed YouTuber and Instagrammers' bullet journals, and I felt that I was trying to emulate their style, which was not practical for me. But after reading Carol Ryder's beliefs and intentions of what a bullet journal is, I felt a lot more confident to know that Buju was more than pretty brush lettering and tracking every aspect of my life on hand-drawn charts and grids. I recommend that you read Ryder's book if you feel like bullet journaling is failing you. It will change your perspective. Okay, Okay, so that was definitely the longest video that I've ever uploaded here. So thank you so much for watching if you stuck around for this long. Hit the subscribe button for more journaling, bookmaking, and papercraft inspiration. We post every Sunday and Wednesday. I hope these flip throughs will inspire you during your next journaling session, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!